shit your pants, because this week's chapter of Hunter x Hunter is absolutely terrifying. It also reads like a freaking novel, so make sure to bring a pad of paper and a pencil because you're going to want to take notes for this one. This is a chapter that I swear I think I read like 5 times in a row, and it is still confusing. I'm guessing that the creator of the series is making up for all of the hiatuses by essentially drawing a manga and writing a light novel all at the same damn time, because there's a lot of details in this week's chapter. But even with all of that, this one right here was basically just a showcase, getting to see all of the Nen Beasts which are associated with all of the princes and princesses of the Kakin Kingdom. And some of them are freaking terrifying. It's like a perfect combination of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Parasite. Combine that with Hunter x Hunter, and that's basically what you get in this week's chapter. And that's really mostly what I want to talk about in my review, is all of these various Nen Beasts which have been making their formal appearances in the last couple of weeks. And one in particular has got to be one of the most disturbing freaking things that I've ever seen. So let me do everything in my power to actually try and explain it. There's that one prince of the Kakin Kingdom who goes by the name of Seredanich? He's the crazy guy who has all of the body parts, including the eyes of the Kurta clan and that one head, and his Nen Beast takes the form of this female horse that can elongate its neck. And then when the actual head, which is a human by the way, a human woman's, opens up, you get to see these giant rows of teeth, and inside of its maw is another human head, which also has its mouth open up, which also has a giant tongue that comes out, which is bifurcated and has 2 freaking eyes on the end of it. This is some terrifying shit. I don't know about you guys, but honestly, this is one of the creepiest things that I've ever seen from the Hunter x Hunter series. And that's like just the beginning of the nightmare fuel that is this week's chapter. Just getting to see more of the Nen Beasts, some of them being absolutely over the top and ridiculous, like a giant frog creature with multiple chariot-like wheels, or a giant monster which quite literally looks like a combination of an octopus, a pineapple, and lots of frickin' boobies. There's all types of crazy monster Nen Beast designs in this chapter, which leads me to believe that the author of this series is one sick bastard. And considering that this guy is actually married to the creator of Sailor Moon, that's really damn weird. And I love that his series is sort of on the opposite spectrum of Sailor Moon, with that one being pretty much appropriate for everyone of all ages, and this one right here just being downright X-rated at times. And it's all done with such an amazing art style. In fact, the introduction of that one female horse Nen Beast has got to be one of the craziest panels that I've ever read from this manga series. Especially because you don't even realize what it is at first. There's this really great panel where you get to see its face all up and close right next to you, and you're like, what the hell is that? And then it slowly starts to pull back and you see that it's the elongated neck of this horse-like creature. This scene is also really tense because this creature is actually confronting the character of Theta, who's that one bodyguard who's looking after that prince. And they're desperately doing everything in their power to make sure that these princes and princesses don't know how to use Nen or how to actually use it. Otherwise, if they learn how to do this stuff and combine it with the power of their Nen Beasts, they could cause a lot of trouble. And of course, Theta is so freaked out over actually seeing this thing that she has no choice but to actually say yes to this guy. There's also other big development in the series with the character of Hulkenberg, another one of the princes who returns back to his quarters and discovers that all of his bodyguards have been completely destroyed. So someone's going around this ship and killing people, maybe even inadvertently without them actually realizing it. But I really do love the air of mystery that's being introduced in the Dark Continent arc so far, and we haven't even gotten to the Dark Continent yet, so things are getting kind of insane. Everything else that's in the chapter is basically, like I said, just an excuse to see more of the princes and princesses and all of their weird, freaky Nen Beasts. Some of them being aware of the fact that they do exist, some of them not quite knowing how they'd have the ability to actually see them, some of them actually learning about the concept of Nen and realizing how long that's going to take and just saying, fuck that noise, I don't have the time to wait around for a year. I also like that we get to see more of the bodyguards outside of, like, Kurapika. We actually get to see his original Nen master, Uzanavi, who's a character that I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about. He's hanging out with that one super creepy princess by the name of Tyson, who, I don't know, these characters are so strangely designed, but they're also incredibly unique, and they managed to add a little bit of levity with some of them being kind of goofy looking and other of them being just absolutely terrifying, especially the one with the horse Nen Beast, Seredanich? How do you pronounce his name? Can somebody try to freaking word that out in the comments section? I honestly have no idea how to process it. What I will say is, there are a lot of details in this week's chapter. Like, a lot of learning about how the Nen Beasts work and the abilities they have, how they can attack certain people who also have a Nen Beast, certain stipulations about them, and it's the type of thing that you kind of just have to reread a couple of times. And I'm still very confused about all of it. In fact, this is still, to me, I think, the most confusing arc of the entire Hunter x Hunter series. And it's not that the story is hard to follow, it's just that the creator of the show loves going into detail about absolutely everything. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, a lot of people like to compare it to other manga series, and a lot of the times it's hard to have that balance of amazing artwork and really good storytelling. Hunter x Hunter sort of like finds this really great middle ground where there are times when the artwork can look kind of sketchy and downright unfinished at some parts, but it's backed up by such an enthralling story that you find yourself not caring and getting sucked into this amazing story, and that's essentially what's going on in this chapter right here. I still feel that I need to go back and reread a couple of these chapters, though, as I continue my reviews of the series. What I can say is that this was a very enthralling chapter that had me completely sucked in from beginning to end. So, what's the rundown on this week's chapter of Hunter x Hunter Freaky Nen Beasts? I don't even know how to describe half of these things, how incredibly strange they look. Some of them are like a living wheel. One of them literally looks like a freaking mutated version of the Pokemon Coughing, who is spewing its crap all over the place. Some of them are these weird, disgusting gargoyle-esque creatures. They all have such amazing, unique designs, and you can tell the creator of the series was doing everything in his power to not only design some really unique-looking creatures, but things that would scare the fuck out of you. And that's exactly what they do in this chapter. The one panel that I absolutely will remember forever from this chapter was when that giant horse creature's freaking human head opened up with the other human head inside of it. Just terrifying. One of the creepiest things that I have ever seen, and it makes sense that a character like him would actually have something like that, which is a perfect reflection of his overall nature and how frankly disturbing he really is. A creature that on the outside is desperately trying to appear human, while on the inside it's nasty, twisted, and grim. And that's what I really love, how a lot of these beasts are sort of like the representations of their characters, with some of them looking very simple and fairy-like, and other ones just looking like indescribable monsters of pure terror. And it makes for one hell of a visual read, and something that I think a lot of viewers are going to be talking about for weeks. So, really, what more can I say? It was a slightly confusing and incredibly wordy chapter of Hunter x Hunter, but then again, they usually are, but it was backed up by some of the greatest artwork that I've seen from the series, and as a fan who's only been reading the manga version since the end of the Chimera Ant arc, I think that's saying a lot. I'm starting to appreciate the author's style just a little bit more with every coming chapter, and I can only pray that the scariest thing of all, another hiatus, is not going to come soon. So let's just enjoy this ride while we can and enjoy all the freaky awesome art. I'm giving this chapter a 5 out of 5. Personally, for me, I would give it a 4 out of 5, but that's only for me, and that's because I'm still just kind of slightly confused by some of the events which are going on, and frankly, it is just a little too complex for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I think I can follow a story pretty decently, but there's just a lot of details that I end up missing while reading Hunter x Hunter, and it's the type of series that begs rereading multiple times, and I just pray that eventually, when they do reach that point where we get a couple more years in the manga, that they decide to start doing the anime again, because that's how I fell in love with the series, and to see a lot of these creatures actually in animated form, I think would be really damned awesome. So let's just hope for the best. What I will say is, again, fantastic chapter. Check it out, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can tell me in the comments section below. What was your favorite Nen Beast design in this week's chapter? What do you think of the brand new story developments? Please tell me all your thoughts and what you hope to see from the rest of this arc in Hunter x Hunter in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Hunter x Hunter manga related. And of course, if you liked this video, make sure to use your Nen Beasts powers to hit that like button and give this video a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and as always, stay damn down, baby.